Hello and welcome to chapter 10, Managing Undo Data. In this chapter, we are going to describe undo data, differentiate between undo and redo data, configure and guarantee undo retention, and last thing, describe undo advisor. What is undo data and why Oracle generate undo data? Undo data is a record of all data. Any transaction change data in the database, generate old or original data. This old or original data called undo data. It stores the data as it exists before modification. This is called undo information. It's stored inside the undo segments within the undo table space. The undo data generated for every transaction that changed data. Any transaction like insert, update, delete statement or merge statement generate undo data. Retained at least until the transaction is ended. So as long as the transaction is active, the undo data must be retained in the undo table space. So for example, if you have a table, this table for example contains ID of the employee and name of the employee. Let's for example assume that we have two employees. Employee 1, the name is A. Employee 2, the name is B. For example, if you change the name of this employee, instead of A you put C. A is called undo data or original data, the old data or the data before modification. This undo data stored inside the undo table space. There are 4 benefits of generating undo data. The first one, which is rollback operation, to support rollback operation. For example, if you update a table and you don't put where condition, all records updated by mistake. So as long as the transaction is still active, you can do rollback. So Oracle will get undo information from the undo table space and roll back the wrong transaction. The second benefit, which used read consistent query. What's mean by read consistent query? Read consistent query, for example, in case you have a large table and you do a select statement. For example, let's assume you run a select statement at 9 a.m. At 9 a.m. you run a select statement against a table, for example, called big table. You have a big table, for example, here. You run a select statement for big table. This select statement takes around, for example, let's assume 30 minutes. 30 minutes. You do a select statement at 9 a.m. and the select statement takes around 30 minutes to complete. During running the select statement at 9, for example, 15, at 9:15 you run an update statement for the big table with commit. So you have a transaction or you have a committed transaction affect the big table. What's mean by read consistent query? Read consistent query, you run the query at 9 a.m. That means the select statement must retain the data as of 9 a.m. Any transaction happened during running the query shouldn't be returned back to the end user because the select statement run at 9 a.m. The data must be returned to the end user as of 9 a.m. So because there is a transaction at 9:15 update the big table data with a commit, that means it affects the data inside the big table. If the select statement reach the records that updated by this transaction, what Oracle will try to do, it will build a consistent data from the undo information. It will not retain the new data comes from the update statement. It must retain the data as of 9 a.m. How it gets the old data? From the undo information or from the undo table space. This is called read consistent query. Another benefit of using undo data, which is the flashback technology. Flashback technology like flashback transaction, flashback query, flashback transaction back out, flashback table, and so on. all of these flashback technology based on undo data stored in the undo table space. The last benefits of using undo data, which is recovery from failed transaction. Recovery from failed transaction means, for example, if you close your desktop abnormally, if you close your application abnormally that's connected to the Oracle database and that submitted a transaction to the database, in that case, any active transactions will be rolled back automatically using undo data stored in the undo table space. Storing undo information is stored in undo segments in the undo table space. Each transaction is assigned to only one undo segment, but one undo segment can serve many transactions at the same time. The undo table space that's used to store undo segments, it's used only for storing undo segment. You cannot create, for example, normal tables or indexes in the undo table space. The undo table space is used only for storing undo information, assigned with only a single instance. Undo table space belongs only to one instance. If you have, for example, a rack with two nodes, each instance must have its own undo table space. You can create multiple undo table spaces in the same database, but only one undo table space can be the current writable undo table space for a given instance. You can change undo table space by using undo underscore table space database parameter. Differentiate between undo and redo data. What's the difference between undo and redo data? The undo data is used to undo the change. If you by mistake, for example, update a table, you can roll back the change by using the undo information or the undo data stored in the undo table space. While the redo data is used to reproduce or reapply the change. The undo data is used for rollback operation, used for read consistency, and used for flashback technology as we discussed in the previous slide, while the redo data is used for database recovery and for crash or instance recovery. The undo data is stored in the undo segments within the undo table space, while redo data is stored in the redo log files, and then if you enable archiving, it also stored in the archive log file. Configuring undo retention. The undo retention, it is a parameter to specify how long already committed undo information is to be retained, for how long the committed data or committed undo information is to be retained. By default, it is 900 seconds or 15 minutes. 900 seconds or 15 minutes. You can change the value as you wish by using alter system set and name of the parameter, which is undo underscore retention equal. In our case, we changed to 1800 seconds, which means by 30 minutes. This is called 30 minutes. Categories of undo information. The undo information is divided into three categories. The first one, which is the active category, unexpired category, and the last one, which is expired category. The first category, which is active category, which means undo information comes from active transaction. Any current active transactions still not finished by rollback or commit, the original data or the undo information of this currently active transactions goes to the active category. Uncommitted undo information. This active category is never overwritten. The second category, which is unexpired or committed undo information. This information comes from committed transaction, but is still within the undo retention. Which is by default 900 seconds. So it's still needed to meet the undo retention interval. Unexpired or committed undo information is retained when possible without causing an active transaction to fail because of lack of space. So unexpired undo information can be overwritten in some situations, even it is still within the retention period. The last category, which is expired undo category or expired committed undo information, is no longer needed to support a running transaction, and it passed the undo retention. Expired undo information is overwritten when space is required by an active transaction. So this is your undo table space. The undo information is stored in the undo table space. The undo information can be either active, comes from current running transactions, or unexpired transaction, means the transaction is committed but still within the undo retention, or expired means the data is committed but the data crossed the undo retention. And this is the free space. So this is the active undo data. This is unexpired undo information. This is expired undo information. This is the free space. In case there is a transactions happen to your table, the original data generated from this transaction goes to the free space. If there is no longer free space in the undo table space, the expired data will be overwritten. If there is no longer expired data to be overwritten, Oracle will check if the table space or data file is auto extend on or auto extend off. If it is auto extend on, it will auto extend the file. If it's auto extend off, the unexpired data will be overwritten in case the undo retention is not guaranteed. In case the undo retention is not guaranteed, we will talk about guarantee retention later on. Active undo data, which belongs to an active transaction, is never overwritten. Guaranteed undo retention, it is an attribute for the undo table space. You can guarantee undo retention by using alter table space name, undo table space name, retention guaranteed. If you need to disable the retention guaranteed, you can do alter table space undo TBS1, for example, retention no guarantee. Viewing undo information, you can use Oracle Database Express to view undo information, like for example undo management, if it is auto or manual. Auto means you are using undo table space. Manual, you are using a rollback segment within the system table space. Oracle recommend to use auto. Undo retention, which is in our case 1800. This is a parameter which is called undo underscore retention. You can change it by using alter system set command. Undo table space, in our case it's called undo TBS1. Retention is disabled. Size of the undo table space, if it is auto extend on and auto extend off, if there is any problems here, and so on. Undo statistics, for example, you can see how many undo information generated per second, what's the maximum undo used, for example, what's the longest SQL statement, for example 20 minutes and 41 seconds. This is how to use Oracle Database Express to view undo information. Also in the Oracle Database Express, you can view undo activity. You can see how many undo information generated per second. In our case, for example, at around 9 p.m. there was around 25-26 kilobyte per second undo generation. In the second graph also we can see undo space usage, active and expired data. For example, around 9 p.m. there was around 1.5 mega active data or active undo information. There was around 21 unexpired data, which is committed data but still within the undo retention, and there was around 24 megabyte undo data outside or crossed the undo retention. In Oracle Database Express also you can use the undo advisor. In undo advisor, Oracle will give you advice for the size of undo table space based on the undo retention. For example, if you want to increase the undo retention to 4000 seconds, Oracle recommend you to increase the size of undo table space to 60 megabyte. This is called undo advisor. So in this chapter, we discussed about the undo data. Undo data is an original data generated from the transactions and stored in the undo segments within the undo table space. It's used for rollback operation, for read consistency, for flashback technology, and to support failed transactions. And we differentiate between undo and redo data. Undo is how to undo change, while redo is how to reproduce a change. Undo data stored in undo segments, while redo data stored in redo log files. Undo data is used for rollback operation, read consistency, and flashback technology, while redo data is used to rolling forward the change in case you do, for example, database recovery, or in case there was a crash or instance recovery. And also we configure and guarantee undo retention. And last thing, we describe undo advisor and how to use Oracle Database Express to get information about undo activity and undo advisor. In the practice, we will see how to change undo retention, how to guarantee undo retention, and last thing, how to view undo information by using Oracle Database Express. I hope this video was informative for you, and thank you for watching.